in constructing scoping review, and these are some of the steps I recommended, from identifying research questions, the relevant studies, selecting the studies, charting the data, collecting, summarizing, reporting the result, and also consultations. So we are going to go through the step one by one. And at the end of each step, there will be some activities for you to participate, either to share with your research question, things like that. I would hope that you will engage in those kind of activities so that you can benefit from the workshop. Okay. Okay. So step one is to craft the research questions. So as you know, research questions, as in any research, is a specific issue or problem that you review. In this case, okay, we'll focus on. So in determining your research question for your scoping review, we recommend you to go a bit broad, okay? Because due to the nature of scoping review, it should be broad. However, consider the amount of energy and time you should invest should be too broad, okay? This is to limit the time and manpower you are investing into the review writing process. Difficulty, of course, it shouldn't be too difficult to answer, but it shouldn't be too easy to answer as well. And your review questions should not be a questions that can be easily answered through yes and no questions. It's not just yes and no, okay? And your review question should be able to generate sufficient amount of evidence during the search, okay? If you search and then you get final inclusion, only 2 studies, and maybe again, this is not the topic that you should be writing a review on. You should be constructing more studies, okay? And this step, whether you get enough sufficient evidence, you only know after some preliminary research. You won't know when you're crafting your research questions. In our previous workshop, in I think MSK in Faculty of Allied Health Science, we have encountered students, okay, from speech who want to answer the questions whether a language with a lot of double consonant will worsen the stunting of patient. Okay, very specific questions. Okay, and I think the language he's referring to is Arabic language, with a lot of double consonant. And these questions, first, is very specific. It's very hard to design the search string for their students. The research question produced no evidence at all. Understanding that he came to the scoping review workshop hoping that he will crowd scoping review, but design the research question that he is interested did not produce any studies. Okay, previous report studies. And this at that stage, we actually recommend the students, to, rather than doing a scoping or systematic review, turn his attention to writing a medical hypothesis or a perspective article, rather than scoping or systematic review. Okay, because he can only hint the possibility of this phenomenon through peripheral evidence, but no direct evidence in the field. Okay, so meaning that he can analyze the pathophysiological stunting, and from peripheral studies indicate how double consonants can affect the production of speech, especially with regards to the pathophysiological stunting. All of these are from peripheral evidence. There's no direct studies. he will be the first one to conduct the study as such. But currently, there's no direct evidence showing this phenomenon. Okay, so the lesson is that not every research question will lead to a scoping review. Okay, some of the research questions that you have in mind may not be suitable for scoping or systematic review if the evidence is not there. Okay, so think about your research questions, and then we are going to appraise research question later, and you will see whether it is suitable for scoping review or maybe a systematic review of meta-analysis. Okay, so a well-defined research question will facilitate your research and structuring of your manuscript. And in designing your research questions, you may want to incorporate the PICO or PCC elements in the research questions. I'm sure if most of you have undergone your research methodology lessons, you will know what is PICO. PICO is patients, interventions, comparator, and outcome. If you are doing a RCT, if you are analyzing RCT, if you are doing non-RCT review, then your PCC, what is your PCC? Anyone knows what is PCC? Populations, population context, and then I've got to see actually. But it's for non-RCT studies. So you may want to define the population involved, the phenomenon you want to study, and the context you want to study in your research questions. These are some broad questions that we have written before. As you go from the top to the bottom, the 4 boxes, what are the health beneficial effect of vitamin E? What are the effect of vitamin E on musculoskeletal system? What are the effect of vitamin E on bone? What are the effect of triangle on bone? As you move from top to the bottom, what's the impression that you get? Anyone?
The last research question is more specific compared to the first research question. It is more broad.
I think you're correct. When you move from top to the bottom, the scope of the research question become narrower and narrower and become more specific. However, all 4 of them can be written as a scoping review. All these 4 questions, they are related, a different scope, but then they all can be written as a scoping review. All are worthy research questions. However, the question is that how much effort in terms of time, energy that you are willing to spend on each of the research questions. This is to highlight the example. If you look at the review number 1, potential neurotrophic non-communicable diseases, a review of current evidence, that is related to the first research question, the top research questions. So it is a huge review because we are reviewing the beneficial effect of tocotrienol in all kind of non-communicable diseases. The total length of this review is 81 pages, almost a book. And you can look at the extensive list of people involved in writing the review. The entire department is involved. It took 1 year plus to coordinate and to complete the review. Okay, which is a very extensive effort. A lot of energy and effort and manpower being spent on this review. And then you look at the second title, the role of tocotrienol in preventing male osteoporosis, which is relating to the last research question in the box just now. A review of current evidence, only 20 pages. Basically, I did most of the work Okay, and it take about 1-2 months to complete because we have all the study at hand. Okay, so the reason I'm showing this comparisons to you is to show you that the scope determine everything. Okay, so if you want to determine the scope of your research question, think about the manpower that you have and the time you have. If you are considering which topic will probably evoke more citations, probably the first, because it's a very broad topic. So it is going to, how do I say, it's a citation beta, basically, for the first topic. Okay. However, the energy involved to craft the first topic is very extensive. So just now I did mention that the research questions can a well-structured research question can lead to an understanding how you're going to structure your review later. And your main research questions can lead to sub-research questions that help you to structure your review. So in this review, not exactly a scoping review because I'm producing it myself, just me writing it. What is the performance of osteoporosis screening tool for Asians in predicting osteoporosis and fracture? So during the crafting of this, during the setting of these research questions, some of these sub-research questions are being developed. So we know that osteoporosis can happen. We want to know whether this tool will work in premenopausal women, will work in postmenopausal women, or work men. And as we go through the literatures, we did find studies answering each of these populations. And then therefore, in this review, I think we structured the content according to the performance of the OSTA in each of the subpopulations. And also towards the end, we also answer the research question, can OSTA perform better than other osteoporosis screening tool as well? So this kind of sub-research questions do not develop overnight. They appear when you go through a literature. Okay, and they will help you to structure your content later. And formulating your research questions is not a straightforward process. You do not develop them overnight, and they might change throughout the course of your reading or screening or searching. Okay, so it is a dynamic process. It changes with initial search, reading, and so looking at the number of sources that you have. So I'll just give you an example. This is a review that I produced very early on in I think the beginning of my postgraduate studies actually. So I want to write something about uh, soil consumption and bone health. So the first research question that I came out with is actually can soil consumptions prevent osteoporosis? When I look at the evidence, it's a lot. There's a lot of references regarding this topic. Too much to be handled by a small team, too much to be summarized. So I altered the research question a bit. Can soil consumption affect bone modeling? And surprisingly, at that time, there are so many reviews written regarding this topic. The review are various reasons, and I do not think that I can write better than those reviews. So I continue to audit my research questions. Can soil consumption prevent male osteoporosis? Well, male osteoporosis is a very niche topic because when you think about osteoporosis, you think about postmenopausal women. So in this very niche topic, I want to link soil consumption with prevention of osteoporosis. And surprisingly, there are fairly reasonable amount of evidence. Okay, I think more than 20 evidence. But it's quite manageable. It's quite manageable. So I decided to write on this topic and then subsequently get published. Okay,